This video is brought to you by the good folks at KEH. Not only is KEH the oldest and biggest at what they do, buying and selling exclusively used camera gear of all sorts since 1979, but they do it well, with integrity and both a 180-day warranty and 21-day return policy, free shipping on orders of $75 or more. Which is why, because they make it as futz-free a process as possible, they are our go-to whenever we are looking to fund new purchases by selling our own gear or buying that special used piece of kit properly graded and checked when we want to go quirky or old school. Check them out using the special links and 5% discount or bonus code in the video description below. Thank you, KEH. Let me take a moment before we get started to thank everyone who helped make 2023 a banner year for us. And that includes you, dear Three Blind Men and an Elephant viewers. Of course, life is always a mixed bag. 2023 more mixed than most. For us too. Personally, I rediscovered the therapeutic value of black humor, Monty Python level black humor, whether it was me muttering under my breath, "It's only a flesh wound," or watching Eric Idle singing "Always Look on the Bright Side of Life" in rather extreme circumstances. And the reality is that for us, there really was a bright side of life at Three Blind Men and an Elephant. We reached the 100,000 subscriber milestone here on YouTube, thanks to people just like you. Again, thanks. We won a Webby from the International Academy of Digital Arts and Sciences for our Art of Street Photography series with B&H, who, as always, were terrific. Thank you guys. Maria, you know that's a non-gender specific term of endearment for the whole team. As for the audience here, I'll put a link to this free series down in the show notes below. And we expanded our street photography workshops last year beyond New York, which we've been doing since 2019 to include London and Tokyo, and it was a blast. As I said, a banner year, and we think 2024 is going to be even better. We are adding new workshops this year in Paris and Berlin. We are officially offering personalized one-on-one photo walks in New York City, which we've been doing actually very quietly since 2021. And I just want to remind those of you looking for a personal experience without travel that we've been doing and continue to do one-on-one Zoom video sessions covering things like portfolio reviews, gear selection, the art and philosophy of street photography, and more since 2020. You can learn all about them over at www.3bmep.com. And with this said, let's get started. Hey everybody, I'm Hugh Brownstone for Three Blind Men and an Elephant. And as rumors of a successor to Leica's SL2 swirl around the web with increasing frequency, and with Leica now offering SL2 lens kit promotions, some of you, those of you who own an SL2, may be wondering if it's time to sell it. I've got some answers for you, and I will just cut to the chase because I've been thinking about this too. 1. Yeah. I've wondered the same thing, and although twice now I've decided to sell my own SL2, each time I just couldn't go through it. Hold that thought. 2. Timing the selling of one's camera on a purely financial basis, or for that matter, buying one, I think is as uncertain a game as timing the stock market. 3. As someone brought up on efficient market theory, this was certainly part of my decision-making process, and I concluded that the price one might get for an SL2 in particular had just as high a probability of going up as it did of going down. That's because, A, one could assert that whenever the SL3 arrives, SL2 prices will fall. I understand, and they might, new and shiny. B. But with the arrival over the last couple of years of cameras like Nikon's Z8 and ZF, Sony's A7R5, Panasonic's Lumix S5 II, even Leica's own 61 megapixel M11 series and Q3, all but the M11 offering superior autofocus and articulating screens compared to the SL2, all but the M11 and Q3 offering superior IBIS because the Q3 does lens IS only, and the A7R5 offering a superior EVF compared to the SL2, one could just as easily assert that used SL2 prices have already taken the big hit and are not likely to fall much further. Could be. C. Then again, one might choose to believe instead that once an SL3 arrives and Leica ends its SL2 promotion and or simply runs down its inventory, used SL2 prices might increase. Why not? This kind of thing has happened before. But for me, 4, timing a sale this late in the reasonably predictable life cycle of the SL series is a bit of a fool's errand and quite beside the point relative to other, more critical decision parameters. 5. In fact, here's what I've concluded. A. I still love my SL2. From build quality to heritage, industrial design, and UX, predicated on the essentials, its strengths resonate with me while its weaknesses, which are not inconsequential for some of us, I'm talking size, weight, contrast, detection-only autofocus, and the lack of an articulating screen, are not showstoppers for me. I mean, the firmware has gotten to the point where the SL2's AF is darn good and has IAF. Although, don't get me wrong, I'd prefer smaller, lighter, and articulating screen, and even higher resolution EVF, and most importantly, hybrid phase detection autofocus. B. It is what has happened to lenses over the past 4 or 5 years, which are most important of all in my thinking, and I suggest should be most important in yours. Thus, 6. The difference between what I might get for my SL2 and have to pony up for a new SL3 could be applied instead to lenses and might well make a significantly bigger difference to my street work than a new camera. A. Leica's L-mount alliance partners Sigma and Panasonic have introduced a number of really excellent lenses which are smaller, lighter, sometimes faster, far more accessibly priced, and far closer in image quality to Leica's reference standard SL lenses than one might assume, especially stop down. Think Sigma's little jewel-like $600 295 gram 17 f4i series ultra-wide, the $850 670 gram 51.4 DGDN art standard, the $1,100 835 gram 24 to 72.8 Holy Trinity standard zoom, the $1,500 1.35 kilo 70 to 200 2.8 sports Holy Trinity telephoto zoom. Think Panasonic's just recently announced $1,000 298 gram Lumix S100 2.8 macro, capable not only of uber crispy true one-to-one macro work, but of beautiful portraiture, and most especially urban landscape. B. Compare those prices and weights with Leica's SL line, and the differences are startling. Think Leica's $5,500 780 gram Apo-Summicron SL21 f2, $6,600 1.1 kilo Summilux SL51.4 spherical, 5,800 700 gram Apo-Summicron SL90 f2 is spherical, 5,800 1.14 kilo Vario Elmer 24 to 90 2.8 to f4, and $7,300 1.85 kilo Vario Elmer SL 90 to 280 f2.8 to 4. Which is not to say, for example, that the Lumix 100 2.8 can match the Apo-Summicron SL90's resolving power to capture absolutely the finest details across the frame wide open, at distances the Apo90 can focus to. But it is fair to say, I think, that for something approaching 99% of us, 99% of the time, especially given the image sizes and viewing distances at which most of us normally see those images, especially when any lens is stopped down, those differences will not be noticeable. Even if the 90 Apo is a pinnacle lens and has been on my bucket list ever since I saw the results during testing, in the summer of 2019. See, the combination of optical performance, lightweight and small size of these kinds of lenses fundamentally transforms my SL2 into a lighter, better balanced camera. Because they are this good, often significantly less expensive than Sony's best equivalents, and work well with the L-mount S5 that we use for our video, these new lenses encourage me to stay with the L-mount Alliance and my SL2D, but then there's this. Perhaps because Leica's L-mount glass is so expensive, big and heavy, relatively speaking, and because the latest mirrorless lenses are, as I've been saying now for a little while, so much smaller, lighter, and less expensive, while also offering image quality unimaginable, I think, a generation ago. Not only within the L-mount Alliance, but outside of it. Most especially Sony's G Master and Nikon's ZS series. Used prices of SL series Leica lenses are now much less expensive than new. And Apo-Summicron SL35 f2 is spherical, like the one I bought, goes for $5,200 new, tips the scales at 750 grams, but at time of filming, a used one, in excellent plus condition, can be found on KEH for under $3 large. Similarly, the 720 gram Apo-Summicron SL75 spherical will set you back $5,400 new, but there's a used one in like new minus condition on KEH right now for a touch under $3,500. All of which is a long way of saying, as I wrap this up, that, as always, we need to be clear about what we can't do with what we've got, that we can, need, and or want to do with what we might get. We need to think hard about where, when, and how those differences truly matter for our particular use cases, priorities, and budgets. And, as I said earlier, timing a sale late in a product's life cycle, especially, may not be nearly as smart as buying, most especially used, products complementary to what we already have, like lenses, when we need them. None of which is to say that when an SL3 or Lumix S1R Mark II arrives, I won't get excited, nor that I won't buy one. To be determined. I guess we'll both have to hold that thought. But even if I do break down and get, say, an SL3, if Shakespeare was right and passed his prologue, yet no, I'm not likely to sell my SL2. Because it's more than a camera to me. It is, in fact, a talisman. A photographic companion. Those of you who know me already know this. It is a concretization of memory, an object of such surpassing industrial design, silent witness to so much of what I've seen, where I've been, what I've done, that someday I'll pass it on to my children, as my mother passed her Leica 3A on to me, and hopefully they will receive it with the same reverence and appreciation and inspiration I did. Although, hey, millennials, who knows? A big shout out to KEH for sponsoring this video, a great resource for finding just this kind of gear. Check them out using the special links and 5% discount or bonus code in the video description below. Thank you, KEH. If you like what you've seen here today, please give a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, join the conversation in the comments section below because this is an exceptional audience. If you'd like help with a portfolio review, gear selection, finding or honing your artistic voice, sign up for a one-on-one mentoring video call via Zoom at 3bmep.com/booking. Finally, please consider supporting our work by using the no-cost-to-you affiliate links down below, sending us coffee money via PayPal, or most especially, joining us on Patreon, links down below as well. However you choose to support us, as always, we thank you for it.